Hello and welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. Good morning to you all. Go ahead and pull up a nice ginger peach tea and let's have a chat, huh? Not as good as coffee. Anyways, this subject is one I have not done as a matter of course for like the whole video. I don't remember in 4 years talking about the subject that I want to get into with you right now. So, from the title, you can probably guess what this is going to be about. I've never addressed the wealthy in Shit It's the Fan the way I'm going to today. First, I want to distinguish between the 1% or uber wealthy and then just regular wealth. So let's start with the super wealthy, right? Everybody has heard of prepping. Everybody has heard of shit-hitting the fan. Everybody has seen the doomsday prepper type TV shows. And they've even done the doomsday prepper for the millionaires and billionaires out there. That's right. Now, they didn't get to be wealthy because they're not just, it's not right to say they're all unethical. But they didn't get to be wealthy, the super wealthy out there, by being idiots. They take advantage when they can. They have alliances. They get information, they have advisors. If they're wealthy enough, they have a security team that they could probably put on this and go, look into this whole Shit It's the Fan thing. Do we need to worry about it? And the question, or rather the answer to that question is, yeah, you should worry about it. As a result of that thinking over the past decade, since the '08 crash, the wealthy have, and we're talking right now about the super wealthy, they have acquired bug out locations that they can get to either by airplane or chopper or armored caravan, right? These people have these estates that have bunkers built into them, or the entire estate is a bunker. They're wealthy enough that they can live there quite comfortably. They probably even are going to bring chefs, but mostly they're going to have security forces. Now, as regular preppers, if you know where these people are, where their bunkers are, they may not be the best places to be near for a variety of reasons. But these bunkers, they've been talked about as being done down in Australia. They've been purchased and built and developed in New Zealand. And they've even made their homes, their bunker in, bug out, SHTF Armageddon homes here in the homeland, right? In America, up in Canada. In places like Colorado, up in the mountains they build them. Places that used to be missile silos owned by the U.S. government are purchased, renovated, rehabbed, and built to withstand another type of severe war, right? Shit hitting the fan. They're in the Pacific Northwest. They're in the New England states. They're everywhere. It just depends on where these folks are at, these super duper rich folks, and they build these places. Now, I said that I think they're going to have security. Now, whether they have a couple of fire teams or whether they've got an entire platoon, I guess depends on how much money they have, and will they be served? Will these super wealthy be served, right, by their people? And the answer, I think, is yes, because those people are being afforded, right, that type of protection, which requires everything else that goes with it. If they're going to provide the self-defense, then the owner of the estate, the super uber duper wealthy, is going to give them food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, right? Because they're providing the defense, right? They're part of the plan. And so if you are living in these areas around these people and you know about them, it may not be a great idea to live there. The reason I say that is because if anybody bothers them, there's a good chance that these teams of highly trained individuals are going to head out into the surrounding areas and waylay everyone and everything they come across. I'm not calling them cold-blooded murderers, but in order to defend themselves and defend their paymasters, These specialized, well-trained security forces are going to do their job, whatever that is and requires. If they keep getting picked at and picked on by roving bands of marauders or idiots, they're going to clear the field, right? If a 5-mile radius isn't enough, they may go 10 miles. Just something to keep in mind, right? And not all of these super rich people that I'm talking about, very rich 1%, are evil or bad, but they are definitely going to make their stand as well. And they're not dumb, right? And they won't hire dumb people. They just have a lot of money at their disposal. And what is a $10 million bug out location to a billionaire? It's not nothing, but it represents in a form of insurance for them. The same way you and I have food and shelter and water and clothing, right? That is our insurance policy for when shit hits the fan. They've just got a new estate that's part of theirs. They could even lease or rent it out as a hunting retreat or whatever in when while shit isn't hitting the fan. But that's the super rich, right? Are they going to want people around them? No, they're going to want to be quiet, private, and wait out whatever we get, whether it's shit hits the fan light and they feel they need to be there, all the way up to Captain Caveman, shit's going to be bad for a few years. You bet. Now, that's the super wealthy. I want to talk about the regular wealthy, the people like you and me that have jobs. They just happen to have a job that requires a lot more brain power and they get paid a lot more for it. These are people that I'm going to say have a net worth of more than $1 million. Not net debt, but people that have net worth, right? Meaning they have a lot of different properties. Maybe they own one or more businesses. They make a really good income. How are they going to behave when shit hits the fan? Where are they going to be at? How are they going to deal with things? So, like the super wealthy and like us regular folks, the normal, everyday, run-of-the-mill, just down the street wealthy, they're going to have a myriad of problems. They're going to also understand, just like we do, that they see it on TV, they read the newspaper, they see and hear about the riots, they understand Antifa's out there. They're just like you and I in that way. And they too, they didn't get to have their net wealth by being idiots. So they're going to think, how do I protect my wealth? Now, first off, there's going to be a percentage of them, just like there's a percentage of us regular folks that don't pay any attention. They see the shows, they understand the news, but they take zero effort into preparing for things because they're afraid to bother with it. They don't have the time to bother with it. They don't believe it's going to be that bad. They don't want to be considered a wackadoo, right? So they're gonna poo-poo it. A lot of wealthy folks, people with a high net wealth, they're gonna poo-poo it, right? Instead of a bug-out vehicle, they have a Mercedes SUV, right? It's no more armored than anyone else's. It just got a big fancy emblem on the front, right? But now I can say that I know a significant number of these types of people in this wealth range, plus $1 million net wealth that they have. You know, they make a lot of money and they keep it, they acquire it, they build on it. Right? They don't just sit on it. These folks that I know that are preppers, they're going to intelligently approach the problem. They can afford the very best weapons, which means they can afford lots of ammo. They can afford the very best night vision, the very best optics, right? It's not that they're better than us. They can just afford these really fancy toys for shit hitting the fan. They're the type of people that have the ability and have purchased years worth of food that they don't care if they ever eat or not. I mean, they don't like pissing their money away. They're not stupid, but they can afford to take, right? And fill a room 20 foot by 20 foot from ceiling to floor with non-perishable food. And they've done that. They've done it. They have the best food dehydrators, right? And they're going to have the ability to garden and do all these things, right? They've got the wealth to do this. So they're going to have the best weapons. Additionally, the ones I know that are well off, they have networked. In other words, they can't afford a full-time security service the way a multi-billionaire can, but they realize they're going to need help with their defense. And so these wealthy people, like the others, when shit hits the fan, they're going to bunker in. They're going to do their best to survive as well. They're going to be every bit as dangerous as any other prepping group out there if someone comes up against them, right? Because they can afford the toys. Instead of having an AR-15 and a shotgun, they're going to have 10 AR-15s and some AR-10s and several shotguns. And they're going to have a lot of handguns, and they're going to be able to arm the people that they know that have police or law enforcement experience, military experience, right? They're going to know people who have medical experience. They're going to know these people because, right, when you're a regular Joe, you have to go to work every day. When you're a little wealthier, you run in different circles, right? The people at your lodge are other business owners, other retired military, people on, right, a different wavelength, and you run into them. You just run into them when you're at that level, right? If you go to Chamber of Commerce mixers, if you go to, like I said, the Rotary Club, these other civic organizations, right? They don't have to have a secret handshake to get in, but, you know, it takes money and time and effort, and you get into these networking circles. So I believe these people with a net worth of $1 million or more, they're going to be some of the most formidable preppers out there because they have the resources to buy everything that's needed, and they also have the personal connections to get together with other knowledgeable and well-trained individuals. It doesn't mean they're guaranteed any more than you or I is guaranteed to get through a shit-it's-the-fan time frame, whether it's 3 weeks or 3 months or 3 years. Their odds aren't better because they are wealthy. It just means they have the ability to buy the items needed. It means that they're going to have the connections to put together a good team. So, you know, it doesn't mean that they're going to be smart enough. They haven't thought about it. The ones I know have, right? But a lot of them, you know, they're going to have all this stuff, and they're going to be just like you and me, and they're going to be out there doing their best. So, but let's just say 5% of the general population is preppers. But in wealthy groups, it's 10% because they are on the ball. They are thinking, and they are more like planners, like us. They plan ahead. They look at the news. They see what's going on, and they take the appropriate actions. So 10% of the wealthy out there, that is net individuals with a net value of $1 million or more, there's going to be a higher likelihood that they're preppers and they're well stocked. Right? Now, an example of this I want to use are the investment precious metal types. Let's see, who else are they? We'll just say the investment guys on the internet. They're now talking about prepping. They've got lots of money, right? They're into this stock and that stock, but they see the problems coming and they talk about it. They're into precious metals. They're into emerging markets, right? They're into that stuff. But they also start talking about now, you better start having some food around, right? And that's what they're saying. And these are investment geeks. So I've been listening to the investment geeks going, yeah, even they see it. So that's another indicator to me that people with a high net value or net worth, they are planning ahead. They're seeing what's going on. So I think there's a lot more of them than there are percentage-wise of us. Now, because they're a smaller percentage of the population overall, there's not a great number of them, but the ones that are out there, you can bet that the odds are higher that they're going to be well prepared. I don't know if they're going to be well practiced. That's one of the things we can do, right? We can go to the shooting range, right? We need to be well practiced. You can't just own guns and not know how to operate them. You have to practice with them. So hopefully these high net individuals aren't ignorant enough to believe that they're going to become Rambo because they've held a gun, held a rifle, right? Held a sidearm for a couple of hours. I think where the trouble comes in, as I've always said in all my videos, is the people that are out there in your 10-mile radius. When shit hits the fan, if it's bad enough, the people in depressed areas are going to become what I've called the hordes. And they know where the money is. They know where the rich people live, for Christ's sake, right? It's not hard. You just follow the BMWs and Mercedes down the main boulevards, and when they all turn right, you can pretty much guess the rich people live out on the right. Right? So they know. People know. Now, who is it that the poor blame whenever something goes wrong? They blame the rich. Now, they don't really know, not the poor that live in poor areas, poor rural areas, as well as poor urban areas. They don't know where the super duper rich ones are. I described the billionaires that have these veritable compounds with trained SWAT teams. They don't know where they live. Right? They keep those people keep to themselves and keep hidden. And if anyone does fuck with them, woe is to them, in my opinion. But they do know where the regular wealthy are. And the average ding-dong that I've spoken with, because I've asked them, I go, hey, where are the rich people? And they'll point, they live over that way. Those are the really rich people. Well, they aren't really that rich. They just make more money, right? They're considered upper income, upper socioeconomic level, but they're not super duper rich. They're not the 1%. But they're going to think they are, because that's what the poor believe. And they're going to blame them. They're going to think the reason they have those nice houses and those nice cars is because they stole that money from the poor. That's what they're going to think. So on their way to get to the rich, whose neighborhoods do the rabble-rousing hordes of idiots have to walk through? Your neighborhoods, that's right. Our neighborhoods, where we live. They're going to, in order to get, right, because it's just the way it works, right? The wealthier people, they live a little further away and have a little nicer surroundings and larger estates, bigger houses and all that, right? So you're going to be the intermediary. You're going to be in the middle. And so they're going to come through your neighborhoods if they're looking to exact revenge. And I think that a lot of that's going to happen in the first month of a serious shit hits the fan, right? They're going to get their torches and pitchforks and they're going to go get theirs from the rich. Not all of them, but how many does it take really to create a serious problem? Right? If we have a group, say, of 10, and we think of a group of a horde of 10 or 20, we're like, okay, we could probably take them. Right? In a life and death situation, we've got weapons, we're trained as preppers, right? We're military or ex-military, and we can defend ourselves. But a group of 10 or 20 is nothing. Nothing in a city of millions where the idiotic hordes of socialist morons might say, let's go up to, well, if I was in Sacramento, I'd say, let's go up to Granite Bay. Granite Bay is a really nice suburb off of, up by Folsom Lake area. Anyways, let's go to Granite Bay. Right? It's only 10 miles away from Citrus Heights. Right? So they'll want to go up there. Right? And so it wouldn't be a big deal for them anyways to form a group of 50 or 100 or 150 people and say, we're going to go take it by force because we believe in Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, right? AOC is our goddess, and we're gonna go punish those rich people and take their shit because they're the ones that screwed us all over. Look at those nice houses they got up in Granite Bay. And they're going to do it. So this idea that we could repel 10 or 20, sure. You got a horde of 100, 200 people. They're going to try and exact revenge on these people with a high net worth. And they're going to go and, like General Sherman, a little callback to yesterday's video, like General Sherman, they're going to burn and kill and rape and pillage everything along the way. Because these idiots, these hordes of morons, that's their mentality, right? They don't have, if anyone else has, they're going to take it. So you don't even have to be rich to be a victim of these people. All you have to do is be in the way. So I'm not saying, hey, look, if you've got the wealthy here and the idiotic poor here, and you're right in the middle, that you're guaranteed you're going to get marauded and picked on. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's a chance of it. And like every video I say, you have to know the areas around you. The people, the socioeconomic conditions, even the socio-political conditions. You can go from one neighborhood where there's a bunch of Trump signs, and you go to the next neighborhood that looks to be of the same net worth value, and you'll find a bunch of Hillary signs. Right? A lot of people believe in advertising who they are. right? They want everyone to know, damn it. So it's good to know your area. And it's good to know where the rich are, where the wealthy are. It's good to know for several reasons. One, do you really want to go up there and fuck with them? Probably not. On the other hand, is there a chance that you'll find allies there? There's a chance. The reason is they are not wealthy because they're idiots. They're wealthy because they're thinkers. And there's a chance that in some of these areas they'll be looking for allies and believing there's safety in larger numbers, right? And they could definitely use a community of like-minded people. Now, they're going to have their own particular problems, as I said. Say it is 10% of people with a high net worth, $1 million or more, that live in an expansive neighborhood, but only 10% of them, are preppers. That still leaves 9 out of 10 families in those wealthy areas. They're going to be up shit creek, right? They're going to have problems amongst themselves. Now, I'll do a little story here. Back when I was in my mid-20s, I had been working as a paralegal. I had some legal training, worked around lawyers, but I had since got out of that particular business and was in the oil business. And I used to go in Lodi, California, which is south of Sacramento, just north of Stockton. And there was a smoking club there. It was called, there's a cigar shop. It was called Fred's Puff and Stuff. And he had a smoking club called Stogie's. And you'd have to pay a $1 membership. And then you could go there, have a beverage, an adult beverage, and a cigar and relax. It happened to be across the street from the courthouse. Anyways, I used to go there from time to time and partake in a little bit of tobacco. And I was sitting in there one particular day, and 2 gentlemen walked in, and they were lawyers. They didn't tell me they were lawyers, but they sat down, and we just started talking, and I finally said, "You guys are lawyers, aren't you?" Right? Their language, their manners, their behavior. And they were ashamed of being lawyers. Not that they were bad gentlemen, but they were ashamed of it because they know that most lawyers are douchebags, that they're thieves, that they're liars, that they'll screw someone over for, $300 an hour, right? They sell their soul for $300 an hour and will lie, cheat, and steal and screw people over. So they know they've got a bad reputation. No lawyer believes that they've got a stellar reputation unless they've individually earned it. But in general, lawyers have a bad reputation. Right? Because they are scumbags. So within these wealthy communities I'm talking about, like say Granite Bay, there's going to be a percentage of them that are lawyers. Successful lawyers. Lawyers that have no morality and no scruples. Unethical to the core. So even within the wealthy community, just because they're wealthy doesn't make them ethical or unethical. They're going to have their fair share of assholes as well. And you can bet they'll have their fair share of problems when shit hits the fan as a result of that demographic within the wealthy that is dishonorable in nature. I think I finally got there with that, didn't I? So the wealthy or the high net worth individuals and families and neighborhoods, they're going to have to deal with it too. Helicopters will not fly over their house and drop filet mignon in their yard. Right? Tanks will not roll in pulling water buffaloes with the best water purification systems available and drill wells for them so that they can have drinking water while the rest of the humanity, suffers dysentery and everything else. They're going to be screwed as much as anyone else. Now, of course, they have the ability to have generators and fuel. They have all that to buy the preps. But not all of them will do that for the variety of reasons which I've kind of laid out here. So the wealthy, right? The ones that I know because they're preppers and I'm a prepper, and they're all over the country. They've contacted me through a variety of means and got a hold of me and let me know that they're out there. And they are very serious about their business. Right? They are. They can afford those nice weapons. They can afford the defenses. They do know how to take care of business. So I would recommend not going and screwing with them. But the odds of finding the wealthy, they're not going to have food to feed neighborhoods. That's not their job. Their job is to take care of themselves the same way, Your job is to take care of yourself. My job is to take care of myself, my family, my group, and to the extent possible, my community. That's what we're going to be looking at. But so the wealthy, they represent, right, potentials in good, and then there are also some bad things with it, right? There's bad things with it. I don't think they're going to band together and use their Benelli shotguns and go out and form Izod-wearing marauder gangs. But they're going to be faced with a lot of trouble, because they're going to be blamed for things. They're going to be, in large numbers or large percentages, ill-prepared as everyone else. Right? And they're going to be just as scared and just as frightened. And amongst them, these lawyer types I'm talking about, and unscrupulous businessmen that have been financially successful, even though they're ethically deplorable, they're going to do what they do in business when shit hits the fan. And they're going to be ethically deplorable when shit hits the fan. And they're going to take advantage of people, and they're going to harm people because that's what they're used to doing. Just like there are deplorable people within the middle class and within the poor. Right? It's going to be everywhere. But it would be advisable to know where they are, know the routes, know where they are in relation to the poor who may want to go and take advantage of them, thinking that they're a bunch of rich fuddy-duds. Right? But amongst them, there are going to be some very well-armed, well-trained, and thoughtful people amongst the wealthy or the high-net-worth individuals. Anyways, this is a video I've been wanting to do. I wanted to make people aware of it if they hadn't thought about it yet. But the wealthy are out there, and they represent both a benefit and a risk. So it's good to know where they're at. Yeah, I'm not going to share any more of my personal stuff. Anyways, for the time being, I wish you guys a wonderful day. It's going to get interesting. Yesterday was a holiday, right? Everyone had the day off, except people like me who had to work. Right? But the week is going now, and could get ridiculous, could get silly. Keep a sharp eye, stay frosty, head on a swivel. Chance favors the prepared mind is yours. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Thank you again for supporting us here at Patreon. It is mucho appreciated. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.